What's up, guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Sharing Thoughts. So, guys, basically, as you guys know, Sharing Thoughts is a new series I've started where I basically just share my thoughts and opinions on a bunch of different concepts and topics. And so, a discussion I have with people all the time is, because I work online, I'm an influencer and creator, I sell courses in the back end. So, a general discussion I get all the time is, Timon, should I quit my job and how did you do it? Do you think it's a wise decision? And I just kind of get the general idea that most people are really unhappy in their current situation. And so today I've invited one of my friends over, Dwayne. I'm going to give over to him in a second. Dwayne comes from a similar background than I do. He's also working for himself. I'll let him share his own story in just a minute. And so I thought, because we're like-minded, let's just share some value and share some thoughts on this whole concept of, should you quit your job? Should you take the risk? When should you do it? And all of this stuff. So Dwayne, over to you. I think introduce yourself, where you come from, what you do, and yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the channel, and to everyone watching. Thanks for being inspiration to us all, doing what you do and the movement you're creating. I think a lot of people can relate. And yeah, guys, for me as a 27-year-old Dwayne, I live in Pretoria. I've also been in that space where I didn't know when was the right time to quit on my 9-to-5 job, because I was, just like everyone else, pushed into the direction where you must get a job, go study, find someone that can pay you a salary and settle for that. And I soon realized that if you do what 90% of the world does, you're gonna have what 90% of the world has. And that is something that I didn't want to settle for. I always looked at myself as, if the fish swim downstream, I was going to swim upstream again.
Of course.
And what I did was, I realized that I had to finish what I started, get my degree exactly like we get taught to do. And after that, I realized, there's so much more to life. There's so much more to you as an individual, and what you can do and what you can create when you have time. And I only saw this when COVID happened, when we went into lockdown. I was like, okay, I'm stuck at home. What am I going to do? And the funny thing is, we weren't paid in lockdown, in COVID.
Oh, wow.
So we were employed. You settle for 12 payments a year, and something hits the wall, and your income just gets cut off. You have to think on your toes, and my back was against the wall. And I think most people flourish when their backs are against the wall.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I had a very similar story. Worked an 8-to-5 job. My situation was a little different. I'll just give you guys a little bit background. So I have this idea that people fall in love with the concept of something. For example, when I was younger, I used to watch the series Suits. It's basically this series about a bunch of corporate lawyers. They have a lot of cash, really nice offers. They get the girls, they just get everything in life. And so when you grow up, you're obsessed with this thing. I want girls. I want to get all the attention. I want money. I want all of this.
Very true.
And so I want that thing. So you become so obsessed with that. And that's why I went to university. I did my degree, did my honors degree, graduated third in my university in my year. I took the corporate direction into finance. Then I got my job working up to the Suits role. And then I realized the first day in the office, damn, this is not at all what I went for, because I want the nice office, the city view, the money, the cash, the girls. I wanted that. Instead, I was running around doing chores and tasks for people, and I was unhappy. And that's for the first time where I realized that you can't fall in love with the results of something and not take into consideration the process involved to get there. And that's kind of why I went corporate, because I fell in love with the concept. And I think it's a big problem amongst everyone, really. Even with what I do now as a creator and influencer, I get a lot of people messaging me, I also want, it must be so cool to be famous, or have a lot of followers and stuff, and they also want this. And I get it, but the problem is they're fascinated about the concept of having followers and being famous. But do you like filming videos? Do you like editing videos? Do you like any of this stuff? Because if you don't like editing videos, filming videos, if you can't talk in front of a camera, then you can't be an influencer. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, I think a lot of the people fall into that mindset of, they see what other people have, but they don't see what those people go through to have what they have. If you want to be someone that does something different, or you want to be out there and you want to make a difference, you must be able to put in the work. You must be able to take the grind. And I've seen this so many times is people working a 9 to 5, you go to work, by 5 o'clock, everything shuts down. Like you go home, you've got no stress, you've got no worries, but you know tomorrow morning you're doing the same thing again. Doing what we do, we know that there's no real stop to when we can just relax and chill. We always on the grind, we're always working, we're always hustling. So do you want to settle for just the normal average 9 to 5? Do you want to settle for doing something more out there and for yourself, but knowing that it's going to take more time, it's going to take more effort, and at the end of the day it takes more work, but you're happy in what you do. Like they say, if you enjoy what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
I agree so much. And just to come back to that point, I don't think entrepreneurship is for everyone.
No,
I
it's
really
not.
don't think it is. I think, again, that's why you shouldn't fall in love with the end result. You know, so many people want to be entrepreneurs because now it's a cool thing. Back in the day, it was never cool. Now it's cool.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. But because they link entrepreneur to cash, you know, they link followers to famous. They fall in love with that thing. But I mean, if you're a teacher, you're earning $1,000, $2,000 a month, and you wake up happy, you've won. Like, there's no need to quit your job. And I don't think we're speaking to those people. I think we're mainly speaking to people that are unhappy. You know, I think that's ultimately what success is. It's happiness, it's freedom, it's doing what you love. Because I can promise you, it doesn't matter what you do when you quit your job. If you start an online business, start trading, doesn't matter what you do. If you don't like what you do, it's going to be just as miserable, you know?
Yeah, and I hear this every day, you know, people, there's still friends of mine work a 9 to 5. They completely love their job. They love going to work. They love, and I think there's also a misperception that there's nothing wrong with working a 9 to 5. There's nothing wrong with being an entrepreneur. It's where do you fit in? Where do you see yourself in your work ethic aligning? And are you happy in what you do? Because if you're not happy, you have to change that. Maybe someone forced you in being a lawyer, but you actually want to be an architect. And that is something that you watching can distinguish by yourself. You know, am I in the right profession? Maybe it's not my 9 to 5 that I don't like. Maybe it's my boss, or maybe it's not the boss that I don't like. It's the profession I'm working in. And maybe sit down and figure that out, because I was in that situation where I loved where I used to work. I might not have liked the environment that much, and that kind of made it toxic in a way for me. But I'm also someone that always wants more. And I reached the ceiling in where I was. You know, I couldn't grow more, I couldn't earn more. So I had to make that decision. Like, if I want to do better and do bigger things, you have to sacrifice. And that's how I went and took on the entrepreneur journey.
Yeah, I got it. And there's this thing I heard from Gary Vee, and I'm so for this, and it's something I wish I understood back then. I want to get your honest opinion and thoughts on it. So if you disagree, disagree. But Gary Vee says, when you're young, and young in his terms are like 20s, 30s, even 35, 40, still young. When you're young, you should risk massively and go all in with what you love most. You know, when I just finished university, I should, in my own opinion, I should have risked massively. I should have went for what I wanted to do, even if I had to wait to bring in cash, move in with 6 roommates into a 1-bedroom place, and hustle to build the thing I love, and try, you know, if worst case it doesn't work out, you can always go back to your job. But I had this thing where I need to start building up my experience, even though I don't like it. I need to start my corporate journey. I think I should have just went all in with my business at start, humble myself down. I think that's another big issue we have, because we live in a society where we are obsessed with social media. So you see all the cars and the shoes and the watches. So you become so obsessed with that you feel like a piece of shit for what you do. When in the back end, when I think back to it, I should have just been a waiter, worked some job where I had casual hours, and focused on my dream. And I think that would have helped me a lot. And Gary Vee is all about that. So do you think you should risk massively in your 20s? Let's say you just, in the most case scenario, you just finished university. You don't really want to start working corporate, but I mean, that's kind of the general consensus. That's what everyone does. That's normalized. What would you say to that person? Let's say the person studied finance. He loves fitness. What should he do after university?
No, I agree with you. And I think that's something that the people watching can take from that, because I see so many times people want to risk it way too late in their career.
That's a problem. You have children, kids, family,
exactly.
wife, and I have responsibilities.
Then you should be settling in. You should exactly know, this is where I'm going, this is what I'm doing, this is how much I'm earning. So definitely use. And people think 30 is so old. Or people feel like if I don't own a Lambo by the 25, I didn't make it. And
It's
that's the
ridiculous.
misperception that we have in this society. It's not about the status. It's not about the flashy things. It's not about all of those things. It's about making sure that you do take the risk. Learn as much as you can from as many things as you can possibly, and grow from that and take in and say, okay, you know what? I studied finance, but I want to do fitness. Let me just do fitness. If fitness doesn't work out, I have finance.
Yeah, I agree.
If fitness does work out, you're in
Awesome.
the industry that you love, you're doing what you love, you have nothing to lose because you've got that behind you. And I couldn't agree more with that. I think people are too scared to risk and too scared of the opinion of what would this guy say or what would that guy say, what do people think about me? It's not about what others think of you. It's about what you think of yourself and what you can build from that. That's
agree.
what I think.
No, I agree. I think we should end this off by maybe talking about the biggest reason why you think most people fail. I think it's different and in fact, let's maybe mention one big thing that people should do in order to achieve that thing, whether it's start a business, get a better job, whatever dream they have. And then let's talk about one thing that stops people from actually doing this, the biggest reason why most people fail in going for this thing. So I think let's start off with what people should be doing. What do you think people should do? What mindset shift should people make?
So what I always, and I see this in my industry, right? I'm a full-time trader, and I see a lot of people want to quit what they're doing and go full-time too soon and too abruptly. And I've always heard this from multiple entrepreneurs is if you want to become successful at something, it takes 10,000 hours. Like you have to put yourself in a position to say, okay, did I put in enough work? Did I put in enough hours? Is my knowledge on a point where, I can subsidize, if you're working, your current income for 3 months at least with this thing that you want to pursue, and if you can do that and if you put in the time, by all means, I would say that is something that's very important. You cannot go from finance to fitness, but you don't look like a fitness instructor.
100%.
If that makes sense, I always say you can't sell a dream looking like a nightmare. So if you want to pursue something, make sure that you align yourself with that, because then people can also see that you are all in with what you do. Now, I cannot educate or sell you on Forex, but I'm not all in on what I do, and vice versa, and I think that's very important.
Yeah, 100%. I actually agree with that. I had different words, but exactly that comes down to the same thing. I think people should just learn how to focus, really. I think people overcomplicate things so much with everything, with business, fitness, everything, right? Like most people, and it's actually the craziest concept to me. Just let's look at something simple that everyone understands, fitness. If you want to lose weight, how do you do it? Well, I probably need to sleep, get in efficient hours of sleep, probably need to drink water, eat healthy, probably need to go exercise. You do that, you're going to look amazing. Yet people are stuck on what training program should I use, what shoes are best to run in. Like they get so stuck on these things that cause incremental improvements. Like just stick to the basics, crush it, and focus. And people always ask me, but how do you stay focused and disciplined on achieving this thing? And I like to always reverse engineer this. Like I always think, what is the opposite of focus? Distraction. So if you remove distraction, focus becomes the default. So I would always say, map out your game plan. What is the plan? I want to look like this, cool. I want to make this much money, cool. I want this relationship, cool. Map out the thing you want to do, and then cut out all distractions and focus on that thing, because then that thing becomes a default and you go all in on that. I think people are just too over the place and they overcomplicate it for themselves massively.
No, I agree. People, if you keep on focusing on all the small little things of being perfect here, like you say, what running shoes to use, what equipment, like those things are irrelevant. If you put in the work and you're disciplined, those things will just fall into place. Like focus is, and it says follow one course until successful. Stop jumping around and stop changing your mind and just be focused, set your eye on a prize and just go for it.
100%, I agree. And I think let's end this off by just basically having a quick conversation on why most people fail, why most people in society, even if they took that leap of faith and they went towards the goal, I want to quit my job in 6 months and earn 10K per month. And I can say this out of experience, most people are going to fail to achieve that.
Right.
And why do you think most people will fail by that?
My honest opinion is we are stuck in instant gratification mindset.
Yes.
People want it to happen tomorrow. They want it to happen next week. I always tell people, take the word instant gratification, write it on a piece of paper, put that thing in the fire and just completely burn it. It's delayed gratification. Things take time. Rome wasn't built in a day. Be patient. I think people lack patience a lot. And I think most people think that in order to become successful, in order to win in life, you need motivation. And yes, motivation does play a big role in day-to-day living, but I believe you need discipline over motivation. And then you will become successful in whatever you want, whether it's finance, whether it's, success is not always just money related. You can become successful in happiness, you can become successful in physique, but your own mental barriers, etc., etc. So yeah, I think that's
Yeah, basically I agree. I'm actually just going to, extend on what you said, because I actually believe the same thing, and I think it causes an even bigger problem because people are so addicted to instant gratification. They tend to jump between one thing to the other thing to the other thing. But what people don't understand is time compounds things exponentially, right? Like, people always look at me because I've achieved some success on social media. I've built an audience of 2.7 million in 13 months. And people are like, but you did it so quick. I also want to do it. But what they don't know is for 8 months, I posted about 30 videos per day. For 8 months, that got me to my first 100,000. And then it just, compounded exponentially. People see my growth now and they think, wow, that's awesome. But what they don't know is this is the work I've been putting in for the last year. It's not, the followers I gain now is not because of the videos I edited today. It's the work I've been putting in all this time. And the problem is most people don't stick to things point. Like, they don't stick to it. I tried trading for a month, don't make money. Trading is stupid, doesn't work, therefore I'm not doing it. Let's start an e-com business. Try e-com, doesn't work, therefore I'm doing something else. Let's try, NFTs, doesn't work, let's go to the next thing. And I think people just jump between things too much. It's like, you got to focus on one thing for an extended period of time, put in the hours like you mentioned, and then I think you dominate. I just think people just jump around too much.
I couldn't agree more. And what a beautiful way to put it, because I think a lot of people can relate to that and say, if you want to change something, they say the first step of change is admitting there's a problem. So if you watching this and saying, you know what, that's me, you know what to do to kind of start your process over and start the journey over,
Yeah, no, I agree. And with that, I think we'll end this video. Dwayne, thank you so much for joining me on this YouTube channel. Guys, I want you guys to hit in the comment section, did you enjoy this? Do you think this was entertaining? As you guys know, this is still the start of my YouTube journey, and this is the first time I'm bringing someone on the channel. Did you guys find this entertaining? Did you find value out of it? Should we do it again? Maybe this should be a weekly thing. I don't know. Let us know in the comments what you guys think. And if you think it's a good idea, what other topics, would you like us to cover? And again, we're just sharing our thoughts based on our experiences, our beliefs, and what's worked for us in the past. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to subscribe. And again, Dwayne, thank you so much for joining me.
No, thanks for having me.
Awesome, brother.
Thank you.
Cheers.